we didn't do it today. Lily's dog routinely eats Lily's leftovers, which vary seasonally. As a result, his weight fluctuates throughout the year. The dog's weight, as a function of time over the course of days, can be modeled by a sinusoidal expression of the form A cosine bt plus d. Sinusoidal is just a fancy phrase to mean it's either a sine or a cosine curve. It's just in that family of curves. At t equals 0 at the start of the year, his maximum weight is 9.1. 1/4 of the year later, he is at 91.25. His average weight is, he's at his average weight, which is 8.2. We're writing an equation. We are trying to put it in this form. So it is something cosine, something t or x or whatever letter you'd like to use, plus or minus something. There are three things that I need to fill in. I need the amplitude, I need the period length, and I need the vertical shift. So let's find them. Thoughts? What is one of those things that we can get based off of that description? What do you got? I agree with that. The period length is 365 days. We can tell that because 1/4 of the year is 91.25. Yeah, you multiply that by 4, it's going to get you to what you want to. But the period length is 1 year. All right, so think about what that means. That means that this is going to have to get me 365. Remember how to do that? We start with 2 pi. We multiply by the reciprocal of something. Not necessarily a 1 on top. And it's going to get us equal to 365. This is the thing I'm trying to solve for. That's the thing I'm trying to get by itself. So what can I do to get that by itself? Divide by 2 pi. Divide by 2 pi. Oh, that cancels. That gets this by itself. So I get 365 over 2 pi. So what's going to go in front of my t? 2 pi over 365. 2 pi over 365. That is my value in front. Great. I need something else. Aaron, what you got? 8.2 is the vertical shift. How do you know the vertical shift is 8.2? The average weight is 8.2, and if that's the average rate, that means it's going to be the midline. That's the middle of my graph, which is what I want, 8.2. Amplitude. What do you think, Sophia? 0.9. Where are you getting 0.9 from? Good. His average weight is 8.2. His maximum is 9.1. And so his amplitude is going to be 0.9 because that's the difference between the two. So we throw that in front. Boom. This is my equation. Let's see if it makes any sense. Let's pull up a Desmos. It's kind of funky. This one's a little bit harder to visualize just because there's so much stuff going on. But let's see what it is. 0.9 cosine 2 pi over 365 x and then plus 8.2. I gotta mess with the zoom here. Go from 0 to 365. And we'll go from 0 to 10 pounds. Here's his weight. At the beginning of the year, he weighs 9.1 pounds. Halfway during the year, in the summer, he's getting ready for the beach. He's down to 7.3 in the midway, and then the holidays hit again, and he's back up to 9.1. Makes sense. It fits with what we wanted at 365 days. That's where we're hitting. Questions on how we model? Wonderful. Let's do some more practice. So just some different practice problems. Let's see what we can do. Let's do this one right here. With your neighbor. Evaluate that thing. Go. So first thing we notice here on the first one, we got sine squared and cosine squared. That should be one that's in your brain all the time. Sine squared, cosine squared. What is sine squared of a value and cosine squared of a value going to get you? That's 1. And if you notice here, you got a 2 in both of them. So we factored out a 2. It is like 2 times 1 right there. It's going to get me 2. Okay. Then we've got minus 3 cosecant of negative 13 pi over 6. A lot of stuff going on there. What do you notice? I don't like dealing with the negative angle. What could I do with that negative angle inside the parentheses? Pull it out in front. It's cosecant, so that negative matters. And so I could say, oh, that negative right there, instead of dealing with it there, I could just pull it out in front and make this a plus. That would make life easier. So now it's plus 3 times cosecant of 13 pi over 6. Is 13 pi over 6 on my unit circle? How many times does 6 go into 13? 2, and then I'd have 1/6 left over. 2 with 1/6 left over. So that 1/6 left over, we are going to go to 1/6. So right here, top, middle, bottom. Which one is it? Top, middle, or bottom? Bottom. You do the hand trick. It tells you that your y is 1/2, and that's what I want for cosecant. So what is cosecant going to be if the y is 1/2? It's 2. Minus 2 times tangent of 225. 225 is down here, third quadrant. Top, middle, or bottom? Middle. It's 225. It's in the middle. And then at that spot right there, both the x and the y are the same, and they're both negative. And so my answer is 1. So 2 plus 6 minus 2, my answer is 6. Make sense on that? A little challenging, but at the same time, it's a good practice of being good at all those things at once. Oh, let's do a little bit deeper thinking here. I like this question. It looks a little bit weird, but think about what's going on. A pendulum is swinging back and forth after t seconds. The horizontal distance from the bob, so that's just the end of the thing, to the place where it was released is given by that equation. So imagine what's happening here. You've got a pendulum. Here is the middle. It's swinging back and forth, swinging back and forth. How often does the bob, this thing, cross its midline? Give an exact answer. Talk with your neighbor. Think about the problem. It's written in a slightly weird way. Think about what's going on. Get an answer. Think about it. It's a little bit tougher. What's something that I should think about as I work through this problem? What's the first thing I should identify? Period length. Good job. Yes, period length would be a good place to start. We want to know what's going to happen with that. If I want to figure out period length here, Jack, what are you going to start with here for this cosine graph? So we start with, what's our base period length going to be for cosine? 2 pi. And then we are going to multiply by the reciprocal of whatever's in front of our x. In this case, it's t. What do I want to multiply by? Yeah, this is what's in front of t. So it's 20 over 2 pi. The 2 pi's cancel. My period length is 20. So is my answer 20? Because think about what that means. I don't really care about the shift at all. The shift doesn't bother me. It's just how often does it cross its midline? And so think about what's going on. This is a cosine graph. So it's starting up here at the top. To get back to the top, it takes 20 seconds. So I don't know why I decided to shift that over. Let's act like I didn't shift it. We're starting there. At 20 seconds, I'm back to the top. So what does that mean? Well, it means I got to cross, and I've got to cross again. How many times do I cross every 20 seconds? Twice. So how often do I cross the midline? Every 10, because it's 0, 5, 10, 15, and then 20. I'm crossing it every 10 seconds. It's going to keep repeating and repeating. Just a deeper level thinking. You got to kind of think outside the box a little bit, just understanding graphs a little bit more. Questions there? All right, you guys seem fired up. A review.